Now, how about those terrorists down in Harney County, Oregon? You know, the definition of a terrorist is someone who by threats and killing and violence, threats of violence, terrorizes the innocent civilianry. That's exactly what the federal government is and has been doing to the people of Harney County, Oregon. In fact, they're terrified to speak up and defend the patriots down on the Oregon front for that very reason. For years in Harney County and all over this nation, the federal government has been terrorizing especially rural communities, ranchers, farmers, independent-minded people, patriots. They come out and regulate and restrict and take away their land, make it so their farms and their ranches have to shut down, destroy local economies, and if anybody stands up to them, they get put in jail or worse. And so ask yourself right now, who are the terrorists in Harney County, Oregon? Let's cut to the chase and let's talk about the law. The law in the United States is right here. The United States Constitution is the supreme and overarching law. But it doesn't give us any rights. We already have the rights. They are natural and God-given. And the Constitution is a command for government, and it says you will uphold these rights absolutely. And every one of these officials, from our local police to our federal government to our Supreme Court, swears to uphold those laws. Now, specifically in Harney County, Oregon, let's talk about the law, because as people throw smut and the propaganda goes out, they say those patriots, those rednecks are down there breaking the law. And you know what? The law says in Article 1, Section 8, what the federal government is allowed to administer and to do. And in Clause 17, it tells the federal government what lands they can own and control and administer. Guess what? The wildlife refuge is not a part of that. Now, they don't get to step outside of this. It is the limitation in the Constitution that the articulated items in the Constitution are all that the federal government can do, and yet they do those and many, many more outside the law. You see, Obama and the Congress and the Supreme Court, they can make up legislation all day long, but they don't get to define the law outside of law itself, outside of our rights, outside of the foundations of what law is. And when they do, it's not law. And this has been upheld many times. It's actually the law in this nation that a law or a piece of legislation that defies the Constitution is automatically not law. In fact, Alexander Hamilton said when they were originally arguing the Constitution, any legislation that violates the Constitution is not law. But it goes back way further than that, because our rights don't come from the Constitution, remember? This goes back to the fundamentals of law. And no judge or magistrate or politician acting outside of our rights, acting outside of what law is, can be law. And so down on the Oregon front, we have the patriots down there saying, we're just coming to uphold the rule of law because the sheriff and the local officials refuse to do it. They refuse to intervene and help the Hammonds. They refuse to defend the people of their county. Sheriff Ward refuses to uphold the oath that he took. And in fact, the sheriff is the highest official in the county, overriding even the president and the federal government when it comes to our rights and to the law. His job is to make sure that those are upheld. That's why we elect a sheriff. But he refused to do it. And so those patriots are down there saying, we don't want any violence. We want peace. We're not looting. We're not burning. We just want the rule of law restored. We want to love our neighbor as ourself, which is the fundamental foundation of law, in fact. They're saying, we want this community to thrive. We want America back. We want our children's birthright to be protected. And in fact, in the few days since they showed up there, the conversation around the abuse of the Hammonds has gone worldwide. It's got more attention in the past few days than in the past years of them being abused. And so don't tell me the Hammonds don't support people defending their rights, because their family members are now sitting in prison after being convicted of a crime they didn't commit, serving their time, And then the government coming back after that, the federal government angry because they wouldn't sell their land to the federal government, which is what the government really wanted, says we're going to put you in prison again for the same crime. Another violation of the law in the Fifth Amendment, where we cannot be put in jeopardy twice for the same crime, because that's our right. And so who are the terrorists? Who is terrorizing the people of Harney County? It's not those patriots on the Oregon front. For all their imperfections, and we can say, well, we think the tactic was too bold or it was not timed well, and we can maybe disagree with certain things, and we can ask our conscience, should I go down there right now? Is that where I belong? Sure. But if we support liberty, if we're patriots, if we support America, we better darn well be supporting the cause down there. We better be doing whatever we can, even if we're not called to be down there right this minute. We better be getting the message out and sending support and supplies and correcting the propaganda and the smut and quit getting distracted by the foolishness. Because we've never seen a constitutional stand in America like is happening down on the Oregon front, not since 1776. And so you better ask yourself, what's more important? Your paycheck from the federal government? Your welfare, your job, or your children's liberty? Do you want them to be slaves or do you want America back? Because we all know, America, who the terrorists are. We all know the government is out of control, from the local level to our corrupt courts, all the way to our federal government and the Supreme Court. We all know now the law. The sheriff should be protecting the people of Harney County. Those patriots are there quite specifically because the sheriff is not upholding the rule of law. The sheriff is not protecting the people of Harney County, and he's not doing his job. So go find the Facebook page, go find him on Twitter, and let's start right there in that county and say, honor your oath and defend the people of your county. And let's quit electing these crooked politicians that refuse to do so, because this is happening in counties all over America. But we're way past writing letters and simply having elections. And that's why there's patriots putting their life on the line on the Oregon front for your children and for mine. And despite all the distractions and all the smut saying, no, they did this and this scandal over here, the fact is that as long as those patriots are standing for liberty, any patriot should be supporting them. And so we've just cut to the chase. Now let's go out and let's start actually supporting liberty. Let's stop looking for distractions. Let's stop dividing one against another. Let's unite in liberty and try and save our children's birthright before it's too late. Because America, we're at the end of our rope. Our apathy and our sin has brought us to here. The only question is, will we recognize that it's our job to defend liberty?